live on Boston Praise Radio, 102.9 FM. What's on the menu, Boston.com, Boston Praise Radio, and TV.com, Facebook, and YouTube. We air live every first and third Sundays of the month. This week's conversation, do clothes define your status? Here are your hosts, Louis and Vuitton.
I like that one. Who's Louis and who's Vuitton? Which one is which? I'm Louis. Thank you. I like that one. At least we're not Laverne and Shirley this week, are we? I like that. I like Jay. What you think about this week's topic? What is it?
I'm so excited, man. Do clothes define the person, huh?
You know, one thing I have to say, though, is I have to really love our panelists and love this show because Tom Brady is on TV right now.
I know.
I came up with a fake illness the last 2 weeks because I said I got to see Tom.
Yep.
That is my priority.
You tried to come up with it this week as
yes,
well.
Yes, I did. But I am sick. I do have a cold. Tom needs me. Tom needs me. So, do clothes define the way you're dressed? We have an all-star team in here, as we always do, of community leaders and community workers and just community folks. All-star power to talk about this topic today. Let's hear who they are. This young lady is her first time appearance. She came out with the lipstick. She got the hair, the boots, the jeans. She goes by the name of Lisa Timberlake.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. She came fly for the show. She wasn't sure what to wear, but she stepped it up for us. And we have a reoccurring panelist. She may get to the point of being a personality on the show. She's back. We're glad to have her here. She's always here for us. Kiana Silverman Maddox.
Hey, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. She was in the step show the other day doing her thing with Lisa. And it's all over on YouTube. Check it out if you can. My man, 20 Grand, is back again. He is the flyest white guy I know. Anywhere, anytime, anywhere, he is that guy. He goes by the name of everybody loves Pat Hoey. Pat, are you here?
Happy to be back, Tracy.
My man. That's my man, yo. That is my man. We have another superstar in the place. I don't know why he's a superstar, but he's always been different. Doing things in a different manner. Just fly. His name's fly. His style is fly. Perfect for this show. Goes by the name of Mr. Joshua McFadden.
Trace, how you doing? Glad to be here, man.
Y'all hear that voice? Y'all heard that voice. All right. But he has a special guest that came with him, his daughter, and she goes by the name of Isis.
Thank you.
Oh,
glad to be here.
There you go, Isis.
All right, Isis.
You were trying to share the popcorn, though.
We have some additional guests on the show today. She is a social worker. She came in to be here, and we're happy to have her here. Zamira Saez.
Glad to join you guys.
All right, glad to have you here, honey. Glad to have you here. We have another all-star. I hope he's going to say something on the mic because he has not said one word since he walked in the studio. All right, but I'm hoping he's going to have some things to say during the discussion. He goes by the name of Devon Pitter.
Yo, what's going on?
I didn't even know he had a voice. I didn't know. That surprised me.
His clothes do all the talking.
Oh, here you go. Your clothes define your status, huh? And we were pulling up, and all we could say was, who is that with the fur?
She got the fur.
She said, I want to let all of y'all know that I am a supermodel. You're going to see what I got to show today. And she's here. Her mother's a good friend of mine. She's doing her thing for the city of Boston, and she's a fashion model. She goes by the name of Charlene Martel.
Chanel.
Chanel. Martel's the mother. I'm sorry.
Hey, what's up? And Saka Feta on my Zos.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm not sure what that meant, but I heard it. And did I get everybody on the panel? Okay, let's get right into the discussion. I know for myself, Jay, I'm a type. I like to mix it up. I do a little bit of everything. I'll come in a suit and tie. I'll come in jeans with a sports jacket and sneakers, and I do sweats, preferably sweats all the time. And I never really wonder what people are thinking, but I'm curious. Charlene, does society still judge, or do they, or have they? Do they judge people by the way they're dressed?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I do think that's exactly what society does. But if you even look at yourself, like when you look good, you're feeling a type of way about yourself. But when you look bummy, you're like, wow, I look like a bum today. Like, you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Is it warranted? Probably not.
What about other folks? What do you think? Does society judge you? or have you been judged? Speak up. Someone jump in.
I've been judged a lot
Really?
of times, especially as a plus size woman. It's like, you shouldn't be wearing that. I'm like, well, you don't pay these bills. So, you know.
I hear you. I hear you. Anybody else?
I definitely have been judged. Sometimes even at work. Oh, you're dressed up today. Oh, I wouldn't wear that to work. You know, this, that, and the other. It's like I wear what I want to wear because I brought it and I can.
There you go. That's absolutely right. So let me ask you another question. What has changed in fashion from like the 60s, 70s, and up until some of you, most of you weren't born in the 60s, around when I was around, but what are the changes that have occurred from fashion over time?
Synthetic materials, Tracy. That's what I was
They're a
thinking.
little tight, ain't they? They're a little tight. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I think it's a freedom of speech. You know, it's kind of like the way you dress sometimes speaks to who you are. And I think we're in a place now where, you know, if you look at sometimes rappers, right, they can kind of get away with so many bold statements while maybe the average Joe, you know, it doesn't fit all the time. So I think that's a big change.
You know, it's something too when you brought that up when you talk about rappers. I think rapping, the rap game, rap music, the performance, they changed a lot in today's culture. It very much so. I think back when I remember, I can't remember whether it was a movie, it was something, movie awards or one of the awards, first time seeing one of the rappers be at one of those events and they had on jeans and sneakers, you know, and I know people are like, oh my goodness, you know, we've never seen anything like this. So do we have to dress a certain way to be in certain environments?
No,
No, tell us why not.
because the world's changed, so there's more liberalism in what you do and what you can wear.
Okay.
I would beg to differ. When I'm in corporate America or I'm going to meet a CEO of a corporation, I feel like I must dress in a blazer and loafers. Even though my heart, I want to wear hoops and be, you know, comfortable. At the same time, I know I'm being judged on my appearance.
Are you saying that is because you're a black woman?
Yes.
Or because you are a woman?
Yes, all the above. I'm a woman. I look like younger. So people, that status thing, I need to step and make sure that I'm being taken seriously.
What about the men on the panel? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like we're pressured to dress a certain way?
I think absolutely. You think about like NBA stars, right? Remember when like Allen Iverson, when he was coming out, they used to come out with the cornrows, with the baggy stuff. Personally, I used to think like that's kind of tacky. Because you a professional, you're supposed to look professional.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And plus, like, you got kids like looking up to you. Like, I just think once the NBA put in like that dress code, then you started seeing like players like step it up a little bit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Other than that, they was come to the game looking like bum bums.
Yeah. So
that's not a good look.
For me, right, I love that. First of all, I love everything about the independence of the young generation, what they wear, how they talk, who their leaders are. And the thing that really threw them off with the Allen Iverson piece, was the fact that he was wearing another team's jersey, like another player from years ago, and he wasn't representing his own team. So,
true.
but what about folks if you had to go to church? Do you feel you have to dress a certain way to go to church? And if you didn't, would you be judged? Let me just give you an example, right? Sometimes I wear a suit and tie every day to work, so sometimes I don't want to wear one, and it's Sunday morning. So I guess I tell a little white lie to the pastor. I say, I'm working out and training some kids in basketball after church, right at 10:31. Church is over at 10:30, so I got to wear sweats and sneakers. Do we have to wear specific clothing to church, folks?
I think that there should be a level of appropriatism. Like, straight up, if a girl goes in there with a club outfit and, we're human and we looking at that, you're probably just going to be staring at her as she walking down the thing.
Shadi,
you probably don't want to.
You made that statement like you may have gone straight from the club, straight to church. Is that happened? That's what it sounded like to me.
You get God where you can get him.
That's it.
And
I take come as you are, how you got to take it.
And it's something I would say churches do judge. I know at my mother's church, women cannot wear pants.
Yeah.
What is all that about? Would you be a member? How do people feel? Do you have to wear certain clothing to church?
Tracy, I'm actually a member of a Catholic church, and I think Catholic churches are more lenient, so you can go in there in jeans and t-shirt, and you really don't get any pushback.
I think it's a difference because I grew up in a Haitian Catholic church, so
Man.
it's way
Do they
different.
get the ghost?
Oh,
Do they get the ghost?
yeah, they roll on the floor. They do
Bone
everything.
soup?
Everything. But when I started going to white Catholic churches, it was way different. Like, I saw flip-flops, I saw jeans. So it really does depend on the cultural aspect of the church, too, and what they allowed.
I've seen people in the church kind of look down on me when they see me, with sweats and sneakers on. I just try not to make eye contact.
That's right.
Normally it don't bother me. Something about the church. If the first lady don't like it, then I'm really scared.
Right.
I'm scared of all the first ladies in every church there is. I stay away from them because they don't play. And Reverend Hobbs, you know what I mean. So what do you think, folks? What about the office environment? Is there a certain attire for the office? And what is it?
It depends on the age of the company.
What do you mean? Talk about that.
With more new age companies, the dress code doesn't really apply as much, whereas the old, more traditional companies, it does.
That makes sense.
But think about it though, man. You're going to work. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain there's a certain perception you want to have. You know what I'm saying? Especially you don't want to come in there with with sweats or just looking like any type of way. You want people to kind of like. Yo, Chase, don't get anybody sick in here.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You don't want anybody you don't want people to like look at you a certain type of way. You're a professional. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of like not saying like the new school. I don't like it. It's cool, but then also take some of the old school values. Like if you're going somewhere, like put on a shirt, tuck in your shirt, put on a belt. You don't have to come out here looking like a bum.
When people, does it say you can do your job well by how you dress?
No, I think that's actually like an antiquated perception of people's ability to work and perform and be in a great work environment if you have to dress up a certain way. As a fashion blogger, I will wear that fur to work, and they're just like, oh, she must not be a professional. But I got degrees. Like, I have a second job. Like, I wouldn't want someone to be like, she's not capable because of how she looks.
Well, I want to throw
this. You got on them leopard shoes, baby girl.
I didn't see that.
Leopard shoes.
Oh, that's that plus size model coming out there. That's what that is. So what I've noticed I know for myself, I will look at my schedule and see what's on my schedule to kind of somewhat determine what I wear. If I'm going into an environment where it's the first time meeting certain people of a certain stature, I will wear the traditional suit and tie. But what I've noticed in environments like office environments, things have changed quite a bit where we don't necessarily wear the ties anymore. There's a lot of folks, Pat, talk about that. I've seen you. You're very sharp young man. Wearing, see, I threw that young man in there. See, Pat, you didn't pick it. We wear the shit. Have you noticed that where a lot of folks now are going without the tie?
Yeah, I go without the tie. Suit jacket, dress shirt, no tie. If I have a big meeting or important meeting, a community event, something like that, I'll wear a tie. Again, I'll make that decision based on maybe the environment that I'm going into. Sure. It could be a respect thing. I just want to look, as presentable as I can.
Especially when you go to meetings and you know that there's going to be a whole crowd of folks that don't like you. Yeah. You try any extra piece to get on the good side. Let me throw on the good tie with the good colors. But you know what? Let me ask you this, folks. Do hairstyles nowadays have anything to do with the way we dress? I'm curious, folks. Do they? Let me give you an example. We were driving over here. My hair was all over the place like it is now. I had to go home and get a hat. I said, I got to go back. I said, I want no one talking trash. Not about the style, but all the gray that's just going about up there. What do you say? Do hairstyles now fall into place? I see a number of different styles here. Lisa has a very long, luxurious look. Pat's on my side. He got the gray going on, This gentleman here, when we used to have afros years ago in the 70s, it had to be perfect. Everything nowadays, you can just mix it all up. Just do your own thing, What do hairstyles have? And that's another thing. Black women is red hair, blonde hair. Is that all right to go with your attire?
It does, but it shouldn't because it's something that comes naturally from your body.
What do you mean?
There's no one to determine how your hair should be. It's yours.
Should weave and dreadlocks be accepted into mainstream?
Yeah.
I think
absolutely.
It's
culture.
Yeah, everyone wears them. White people wear it. Black people wear it.
When did weave get to the status of culture?
Right.
Weave done moved in quick. I wish I would have invented weave. I'd be straight. But when did weave get to the point of whose
Yo,
culture
them
is it?
bundles is expensive, boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Bundles ain't no joke.
It's a business.
But when you say culture, whose culture is it a part of?
Several cultures,
I think,
you know.
yeah, I don't know some people. I know some people who won't, and I know a lot of people who do wear weave.
I think African American culture basically started the weave flow, if you want to call it that. I mean, I know for me, I'm queen of the weaves, especially
Queen of the Weaves.
Queen of the
That's
Weaves.
her new name, Queen of the Weaves.
Yes.
Queen of the Weaves.
Tracy, you do owe me one. I had my hair done, and we were going to an event, and he had us standing outside in the rain.
Weave don't do good in the rain.
But you know, having said that, I wear weaves all the time. You know, as a form of maintenance in hair care because you know, you can't put a lot of products in our hair, and you like to be versatile. You know, some days it's long, some days it's short. Now, if you know, if I'm having a really bad hair day or in between, I'll throw on a wig, as long as it's not nappy looking and old looking. Go with the flow.
What about dreads? Are dreads, should they be accepted? Should you be judged if you have dreads? Josh, you got to chime in on that, man. How has that been for you? Transition, because you just don't have dreads. You got a whole lot working over there.
Yeah.
Whole lot of fly stuff.
It's funny, in undergrad I had like the locks, you know, and then once I graduated I tried to cut it to assimilate and look the part, you know.
You felt pressure to do that.
I did. And I think growing up it was like you've made it, or it's time to transition out when it's time to cut your hair. And I did that, and I physically felt weak, spiritually felt weak. Actually, had somebody put those locks back on, and like the new growth that I had, I cut the old ones off.
Okay.
You know, and then this was the new growth. I just let it freeform, and then I cut the sides recently.
That's what I'm saying. I love everything about the young generation. How you think? I'm sorry. What'd you say, honey?
Dad usually shaves his sides.
He shaves them.
does.
Do you help him?
No.
No, sometimes. Okay, that's a good observation. You know, there's something very unique. There's something very unique going on in the studio today, which I have to bring this out. We have my man over in the corner, white gentleman. He's got braids.
Got the braids.
Got the braids kicking. What about, how do people feel when you do black people feel like the men wearing braids is our thing and nobody else's? How do you feel when you see someone, a white gentleman or someone that historically or traditionally doesn't have braids? How do you feel? Is the first thing coming out of your mouth, he trying to act black? He trying to do this? How do you all feel?
It depends on the character of the person. So are they really actually trying to be black, or they understand the culture and they know how to be appropriate with the hairstyle?
So what you're saying is they shouldn't wear it unless they get the whole history on it. Is that what you're saying?
Not the full history, but they know how to be appropriate and not be insulting.
Yeah.
So what do people think, though, when you see that? When you turn around and saw this gentleman coming in with the braids, what was the first thought you had in your mind?
Oh, his hair grew from last time. He's braided now. I see you.
I thought he was edgy and cool, you know. I mean, I now have short hair where I just donated my hair.
To Weave Factory?
No, to
just
Childhood
checking.
Cancer.
Just checking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, I wear braids and stuff. It doesn't stay on my hair as long. So I mean, if it did, I definitely would rock it more often. But then I start to look frizzy and unkept, so then I have to.
Can an old guy my age wear braids?
Are you comfortable?
No.
Yes, I am. I'll be very comfortable. Can I rock it, Josh? Why you laughing, Josh?
Josh, don't do that. Don't tell him that, Josh.
Isis said no. No,
Thank you,
don't do
Isis.
it.
Thank you,
Isis
Isis.
said no, don't do it.
You don't want
Josh,
him to
I can't
know,
do it, Josh.
No, yeah, you can. However, if you feel comfortable, you can do it.
Josh, don't tell him that.
I think you should take on the challenge.
Isis is telling me no. I'm listening to what she says because she's warning me. I told you not to do it, Tracy. You know, the one thing, though, I should have a discrimination case against all the weave companies. Why don't they have weave for men?
Right.
They do.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
You can even get a fake beard.
I could never grow a beard. You're telling me.
You get it glued on.
Will people know that it's a weave? Will they know?
If it's a good applicator, then
I might have to try that. Are we at Jay yet, Cheryl? Are we ready to take questions?
Yes, we could take some questions.
Okay. Jay, what do we have, brother?
All right, so we have Miss Corinda from Providence, and she asked the question, is it moral for men to dress high-end when they owe child support?
Ooh, I like that one.
Good question. I like that.
Folks, jump in.
They should just go to Marshalls or something.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
TJ
yeah.
Maxx. Keep it simple.
Folks, anybody else? Come on, folks, jump in here.
Or you could buy high-end stuff from Marshalls and TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Burlington Coat Factory got it too.
Can I just, because one of the questions I have is related, do folks feel comfortable if people see you as high-end and you're in Marshalls and TJ Maxx? Does that make you feel comfortable? Or do you want to be kind of discreet so no one knows, incognito at Marshalls and TJ Maxx? Got the weave on, got the glasses on, no one knows who I am.
You know what? I'm the type of person, I shop at Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Target, or what have you. It doesn't matter as long as I like it and it looks good on me. You know, I can go to Bloomingdale's as well. But I'm the first person to get in that door and go straight to the sales rack.
Same.
And then I move over to other areas.
Just one more question, Jay. But are you the type that you bought it from Marshalls, but then you say, no, I got this at the other store?
Absolutely not.
Okay, just check.
And I get a lot of my shirts I get from Target. I'll get a lot of compliments, and I'll say Tajay.
Oh, you changed the name.
I do.
Change the name. Target is not Tajay. Ain't that something, Jay?
All right, we got Latasha. We got Miss Latasha come from Philadelphia, and she asks, "How do you feel about students wearing uniform to school?" This two-part question. Do you think that it helps them or it hurts them?
Good question.
Ooh, if I may, I'm telling you, I love kids who wear uniform. I think that it sets an equal standard, and I think that, you know, unfortunately, poverty is out there. And they're young, they're young. It's not kind of on them or their fault. And I think that it just gives them an ability to stand out and be equal, not worry about, what they look like. A lot of kids already have to face that with race and culture. So
I think it's needed all the way up until college, because we're the only country where there's no uniform. And then look at our school system compared to the rest of the world.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it helps with cutting down on the bullying. Because if everyone's wearing the same thing, you can't really clown people.
I went to public school. I could wear whatever I want. I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah, exactly, Pat. I'm gonna come back to that. Jay?
We have Miss Tanya, and she asks, should people be judged by the way they dress? And I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. But do you think? Personally, I think people. You automatically gonna judge somebody off the way they dress.
Well, for me, I'm a professional trash talker, so I'm gonna
So
judge
trash all day.
Like when we leave here, we're gonna talk trash about some of the panelists
Absolutely.
that talking. So I talk trash. So that would be a good question to me. Should we address people by the way they dress? Should we have something to say about that?
I don't think you should judge a book by its cover. I
mean,
mean, you could have a multimillionaire dressed like a bum.
All the
You
time.
know?
I see that all the time.
People in Cambridge, they be walking around with mansions but looking really different.
Yeah.
I went to high school in Natick, and some of the kids, they would have duct tape on their sneakers or what have you. You go to their house, they have like mini mansions, big pools in the backyard, so you should never judge anybody by their looks.
I mean, I may have a big heart, but I judge,
There you go.
You gotta hang out with me.
That's just it. If I'm in the work environment, I'm both in court and in office. And if, someone looks like they rolled out of bed and their hair's not done, I'm going to say, well, that was kind of incomplete. And I think about the respect, too. If I go to court and someone has their pants falling off their, behind, then, yeah, obviously you're going to kind of figure out what's the message there.
Sure. Let's go back to the uniforms in school. Society doesn't wear the same thing. What are we teaching the kids? And it's for myself, I know that when my children were going to school, I put them in nice clothing. I like them to look a certain way, nice sneakers. I don't know if it was for them or for me, but some of it is for them because how kids get teased in different environments. What do you think? Are the uniforms is that what type of message is that sending to kids or to the parents or to society if we're trying to put everybody in the same bucket?
If you put kids in uniform, then you have more time to focus on more important aspects of their youth, like building skills and knowledge.
Okay.
I think once you get into high school, though, you want to show your personality, right?
That's
so,
right.
I think once you get, 9, 10, 11th grade, you want to, show your flair. You can't really do it with the uniform. I appreciated the uniforms in middle school because I went to a private middle school and we didn't really have money, so
Sure.
it kind of helped me look like I was of them. But
Sure.
in
That's a
high
good
school,
point.
I probably not want to wear khakis
Sure.
and a button up.
Sure.
Yeah.
And and like I said, just to I remember when the tight clothing first came out, and some of the kids were coming to school. I'm like, what is he wearing? Did the mama make a mistake? What? And then as you saw, like fashion with young people, even the droopy pants. I love every aspect of it. As long as the drawers is clean, all right? As long as they clean it like they new, I don't mind seeing that. I just think that the way young folks in the rap game has defined clothing now, it changes everything. I know for myself, I feel very comfortable. I love to do this. I love to go places where everyone else is dressed one way, and I'll dress just the opposite. I know people are going to be in suit and ties. Like there's this function that happens. Everyone's coming formal. I got jeans and a blazer on, How about folks? Could you feel comfortable not dressing to what society has trying to train us to do?
You gotta make sure you can pull it off, and your swag carries it.
Well, you pulling it off, baby. You rocking the suit with the Wu-Tang, and I'm not sure what those are called. Those are
Vans.
Huh?
Those are the Vans.
Vans. Yeah, you and Josh are kind of similar in your styles. It's very different. How did you get to that point? Did you observe someone else in your life that dressed like that, or you just say, "I'm going to do my thing"?
I think for me, it just became something that I tried to focus on. Only because I think in certain settings I can't say exactly what I want to say, and so it feels better for me to look myself in the mirror when I go home and say, okay, I at least expressed myself in this way.
Okay.
I know I can't say this here, but I can dress like this and say that through that.
Is there a method to the madness? Like, for instance, do you basically, like, sometimes I love your style. I love everything about it. The colors are not traditionally coordinated like I would wear. Let me put it that way. Is that just picked out, or you just say, oh, I'm just throwing this on, I don't care what colors or patterns go with it?
I mean, honestly, sometimes I think about it the night before, but now I kind of piecemeal it together. And I find beauty in every store, if you will.
Okay.
And going back to the question you asked before, I would used to shop only at certain name brand stores, but now I kind of piecemeal it all together.
Okay.
Based on what's in my wardrobe over time.
Okay.
Yo, so let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this, Josh. If it depended that, let's say, if depending on like your employment or the way that you get your money, right? And then it's like, yo, in order for you to keep this job, you're gonna have to cut your hair. Would you do that?
Nah.
Nah.
I think years ago I thought that I would have had to.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do it now because I know the beauty that it kind of brings. I didn't see that before.
Right.
Only because of settings like this where folks actually give those affirmations, but I physically didn't feel good. You know what I mean? To be honest with you. So I couldn't do that at this point. But yeah, no, thanks for asking that though.
No, because I only asked that because I have a friend of mine who he was I think he was going into like law enforcement, and they was like, yo, you're gonna have to like cut your dreads, and he had dreads, braids or dreads, you know what I mean, one of those, and he had to cut them off, and he was like, yo, I don't know what to do, and I was like, bro, you better cut them dreads off. You know what I mean? That's your ink, that's your livelihood.
And do you think it's important, like for hairstyles? Lisa, Shadeen, it's a little different. Everyone has a little different style here. Do you feel like when you first go into the environment that you have to conform, and then you can spread out and do what you want to do because then they know how you are? And Josh, I don't know why, but I thought we met before you had actually gone over to the city. And I think we were talking about it, and I don't know if I said to you, well, you're going to have to change, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that. What do people think?
I mean, money talks sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I just have my hair and stuff, but I can't say I have a lot of culture and meaning tied into it. So if a job offers me a lot of money to do whatever, hey, I'll be calling, Kim Kardashian stylist and getting some extensions.
I used to interview with straight hair, and then when they hire me, I'm like, boom.
Yeah. Who's that woman? Is that the same person? Who is that, Kia? That's not her. What about the ladies? Let me ask you a question. When you first came on to different work environments, did you feel comfortable being yourself to express yourself fully with weave? Or do you, because there's a traditional weave and there's another one that says, here I am. How did you feel?
Similar to Kiana, I think for most jobs, I started off with like what I called the safe type of wig. Like I would have the wig that cost like $600, but it was laid, it looked good. No one would know. I know, it's an industry. It would look really, really good, but as soon as I felt like I got my bearings, I was like, all right, it's time to come off. That's kind of, I think I'm on my 4th week of my job, and they're now starting to see exactly who I really am.
Sure.
Versus how they saw when I interviewed.
Sure. You know, it's something too. When I had first met you, I was like, wow, you're totally different than your mother.
Yeah.
Very pretty like your mother. But I was like, wow, she's just very comfortable with everything she does. I'm like, I like that. You know, that says a lot about a person. Is there a particular era that you would feel more comfortable being in based on the dress? I know for myself, the 50s, I wasn't born then, but they did a lot of suits with the top hats, the overcoats. Everywhere you went, it was just fly. Is there any particular era that you would like to be in where you could just go there just to dress?
Adam and Eve days.
What type of modeling are you doing? I got to ask that question.
Like, it's so, like, because society's always, like, judging you and people are expecting you to look away, it would be good to just be like, nah, leave me alone.
I'm sure they were judging them too.
I mean, they didn't judge until they ate the apple, so, you know, we all uniform.
So in other words, not just nude beaches, but nude everywhere, just nude day.
Yeah, like, no one cares. But the snake and God.
Anybody else, what era would you feel more comfortable dressing in?
The 70s.
Oh, God, I hate
Bell
it.
bottoms.
Oh,
Afros.
Platform shoes.
Platform shoes.
Collars out to here.
Right.
Flowered. You know, you had pants that you had to buckle form Friday. Like, you know what?
I say now, because I don't wear dresses. I mean, I think in the past years I've worn 6, and that's like more than I typically do in like a decade. So
Y'all never seen you in a dress. So you always kept it.
exactly. Hey, if you're getting married, if it's a graduation and stuff, a funeral.
Now, I guess I have to say that to this gentleman and Josh, do you think you could have pulled this type of style off in one of those other eras? Or did you just happen to be around at the right time where society, where culture was ready for you to be who you wanted to be?
I feel like dressing how I am now, this is the perfect time. But if I was to be placed in another era, I'm pretty sure my occupation would be a part of how I look.
Okay.
Like, I'll probably be a producer. Or somewhere where I'll be free to dress like that. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's fine. You know what? That's a good point. But I want to ask Josh.
That's a tough question. I think when you initially asked the first question, I was thinking like the end of the 60s into the 70s. But because of what was going on, I don't think I would have had the freedom to dress how I would want to dress. It was more of a unit moving. I think I'm privileged to be able to dress individually and still be a part of a unit.
Sure.
I don't think I would have had that autonomy to dress like
that. Sure. Yeah, the 70s, I hated everything about the 70s. That was a horrible era of dress.
How was you dressing in the 70s?
Just like everyone else. The big old collars, the Michael Jackson afros, platform shoes, bell bottoms. It was
the bracelet?
No, I didn't go that far. I didn't go with the bracelet. It was an ugly era. It was an ugly era. Anybody else with that? I forgot. There was something I wanted to go to, but let's go to our sponsors. We are going to Wu-Tang Dang. Let's see if she gets it all right.
Hey, here are our local sponsors: Urbanica Building Design, Eddie Jenkins Law, Callaway Graphics, Sweet Embers Bakery, J. Rockwell Sound Studio, Shun's Kitchen, Janie Construction, Leo Papil.
Ooh, that was hesitation.
Who is a business owner and entrepreneur. George Kramer, entrepreneur and business owner. Suya Joint, Roxbury, Mass. An anonymous donor, and I have to shout out to my hairstylist, Jerry at Leading Ladies.
Before you go to the national sponsor, I'm gonna throw a little hex on you. Ibbity abbity ooh, ibbity abbity ooh.
Our national sponsors: Better Belly out of Chicago, Illinois. The Shop, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Apon Concept Productions out of Miami, Florida. And Campaign Industries out of Chicago,
all right,
Illinois.
Give a round of applause. She got it right.
Good job.
Pat Hoey, what era would you feel most comfortable dressing in?
I mean, the 80s, I enjoyed. The 80s was kind of a lot of creativity happening. And I remember back in high school days, I was inspired by like the musical heroes that I had. And I used to try to emulate like Chic.
Oh,
and,
Chic.
Yeah, Chic. They were Chic. And,
Chic.
You know, others like the Brothers Johnson.
Oh, okay.
They were formally dressed. And, you know, there was a kind of a clique that used to wear like formal wear to high school, even though it was not required, right?
Sure.
So it was, again, kind of like flipping it a little bit, like you were saying. And I mean, in the 80s, there were some crazy materials, and I remember going to Flag Brothers shoes. You remember Flag Brothers? Right?
That's why he's my man. That's why he's my
The
man.
jellies, and it was, I mean, anything, kind of like anything went
Sure,
back
sure.
then, too.
You know what, too? It seems as though entertainers get away with they can wear anything and it's appropriate. One thing that I want to be able to wear, all right, I want to wear sequins. Sequence, all right. Remember we went to the James Brown image? My man had 4 or 5 different sequence outfits. What do you all, ladies? Do you wear sequence?
Of course.
Do you wear sequence?
That is itchy.
Itchy?
Very itchy.
Really? I had to be scratching that night thinking I'm gonna get me a gold sequin suit, the pants, the jacket. Hold up, James had the nerve to laugh at me when I said to him, "Would it be all right for nowadays to wear leather pants, folks?"
I do. I still wear my leather pants.
Okay,
My suede pants.
women can get away with it.
You can get away with that. Tracy coming through with the tight leather pants.
I didn't say anything about tight.
As much as he said he didn't want to dress like Prince, I think
Right,
he
I
really
tell
does
you,
want to dress like
I'm
Prince.
I didn't say anything about being tight. I
You
just said
said
leather.
leather pants. Who wears leather pants? You can't be no grown man with no leather
See,
pants.
that's what I mean. See, you don't know about
I can't even
that
take you seriously if you came
be
in here
on
with leather
fire.
pants.
I come in there with the leather pants, some boots, a fly jacket. Oh man, let me tell you.
Pat, would you take him seriously if you saw him in the office with some leather pants on?
I didn't say the office.
You can't-
I would imagine the Pat's
I don't know where this came from, the sequins.
You better have a song on the radio.
What about does anybody here see anything inappropriate? Was there a time? Is it now? Is there anything inappropriate about the clothing today or any time that you could think of?
I think the tight pants, man. It's like I don't think dudes should be wearing tight pants like that.
Oh, so it's all right for women,
Yeah,
but it's not all right for men. Women,
is
your
it-
ladies, y'all gonna. Oh, even Keanu agrees with that
You
too.
think- yo, I like
butt
when men wear
crack,
tight
Tracy,
pants.
butt crack.
Yeah, it's just
That's a
not-
no-go.
That's a no-go.
For both men and women.
Yeah, no underwear showing. No underwear showing.
No, you don't like that look?
You could have just got a longer size.
Come on, folks. Is there any anything that you see in clothing that's inappropriate?
It feels like the masculine's going more feminine.
Yeah, there's a lot more
I
gender
don't
bending
mind
type of fashion.
if that's your individual expression. I feel like though, as a culture, we're moving like the men to more like kind of effeminize it.
Sure.
And it's for me, it's just like something I don't really
Right.
find attractive. But do you?
You know, it's. How about the rest of you? What
I
do you
mean,
think?
I'll say men going a little bit more femme and suit. I'm all about it. As much as I may not prefer that gender. I mean, if I came across Ghost right now, I'll follow him.
Ooh, you like Ghost? There you go. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna act like I know who Ghost is, man.
Power.
Oh, Ghost!
Come on,
Okay. I didn't know what she's talking about. I thought there was a new rapper out or something. I didn't know. And you know what? I did. You know, I'm the one that would always judge a plus size person wearing tight clothing. You know, and like why would she wear that? It's just and then you see too, you see folks that are plus size men and women, and their stomachs are hanging out.
Not a good look.
But I also said to myself, if they're comfortable with it, and they have confidence in themselves to wear it, why not? What do the rest of you folks think?
Lizzo got it going on.
Who?
Lizzo.
Okay. I don't know who that is either.
Who's Lizzo?
Who's Lizzo, Pat?
She's an artist. She's a performer.
Okay.
Singer,
Jay, you're not on your game, Jay.
I don't know who's Lizzo.
Even Jelly from Philly. You don't.
She's
be
a big
seeing her?
woman.
She is
Oh,
big.
okay, yeah.
She's looking like.
See, I mean, like, it's not that I wouldn't. If you gotta be able to take some jokes. You know what I mean? Like a guy like me, you gotta be able to like, yo, hold on a second. What you ate this morning? Your belly's kind of hanging
bloated.
out. Yeah, you're a little bloated. You know
And don't answer they pregnant. Don't mention I done did that a few times. Is there anything that women wear now, that anything women or men wear that's inappropriate, you think? That would go into that basket of inappropriate
Sometimes
wardrobe?
I feel that, wearing obscenities on your clothing is not really for me.
I agree. I don't like all that either. What about the rest of you? What are you thinking?
For me, it's not a. I don't know. It's tough because it's. I think it's the setting more so than what is worn, and I see it a lot on social media. Depending on like the attraction that something gets. I think it's like I think somebody mentioned it before, but gender bending. I think there's something to be said about it, and you wouldn't want to limit folks from being able to express because you never know how other folks are feeling. So for me, it's really not about if it's like a yay or nay. It's about how they are pulling it off in that realm, in that place.
Sure. You know, what about racism? Does that have anything? You know, it's something, right? Growing up in the 70s and 80s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was a time where you pretty much, your role models were white folks. And what they wore and what they dressed, you tried to emulate those folks. I kind of see it different now. I kind of see some of the clothing. It's different. I saw some of the clothing as I used to say, well, that's black clothing, you know? But when I see some of the folks, some of the tough guys that I know from Southie and from Charlestown and from certain areas, it looks good on them. So it's kind of like urban clothing, you know? But I also just look, and people will look, even for me, I wear some of the younger stuff and they'll look at me and say, why are you wearing that? That's not age appropriate. Does racism have anything to do with race or racism with clothing? Is there certain clothing for black folk? Is there certain clothing for white folk, Latino? What do you think?
I think
Go ahead.
I think growing up, well, for me, growing up in Roxbury, what have you, the folks that we kind of looked towards were the folks running the streets. And I hate to say it, like the pimps and whoever, because they basically had it going on back then.
Right.
Them suits were, they were killing them.
That's
the
right.
cars and their girls, their hair, was done all the time or what have you. So for me, it wasn't necessarily looking at the white folks. We were kind of looking at the folks that we see every day in our neighborhood.
You're right.
And so we were trying to, we wanted I had a little rabbit fur coat and, we're trying to do our thing that way.
That's right. Anybody else?
I just gotta say to my Haitian and my Dominican brothers, what's up with the pointy shoes?
I got
Pointy shoes.
pointy shoes.
I love these pointy shoes with the no socks.
Oh my goodness! Or white socks.
Or white socks.
That's even worse.
It depends. You could, some of them pull it off. You know what I mean?
No. You don't pull off shoes with white socks.
No, never with white socks.
not
But
with
with
white
no
socks.
socks. With no socks, it depends.
You
In the
can do no
summertime.
socks. You can
Summer
with the linens. You
With
can
the
do it.
linens, okay, you
know?
can do it.
So let's go into isms now. Being gay, all right? What about, let's say, a stud that dresses just like a man because of their preference? What do you think about that? Should they be judged? Do we judge them? Or do people feel comfortable? Because I've noticed at times, I've been in environments and you may see a gay couple, they don't feel comfortable, I think, on how people are going to treat them. I went to a party that was just all women, all lesbians, and I saw women wearing suits like men, and I wasn't sure if I would see that anywhere else but in that environment. What do you think? What about the gay community? How do they feel? I'm not sure if anybody on the panel is gay. It would be a plus, but you are.
I am,
Okay.
absolutely. I think it's just a matter of, there is a time and a place. It is an identity, and I think more sometimes women who identify as studs are definitely comfortable dressing that way, and I think they can definitely rock it. I mean, there's some people who are really hot-looking studs, but I think that there's also time and place for it, so I probably wouldn't, not that I'm a stud at all, but I wouldn't dress like a stud going into church because I know the attention that I would command or the battle or the conversations. So I think there's a time and place for me, but I'm not a stud. I think studs can definitely rock it, and sometimes you can't even tell if they're a man or a woman.
Sure. I've seen some real fly studs. I remember in the high school level, they fly what they wearing. And I'm like, if that's who you are?
Yeah, they taking off all the clothes, man, for the guys,
They
And
pull
they
it
make
off.
it look better than y'all.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So, every once in a while, I'll do these functions, get-togethers at places like the Top of the Hub. High-end place. The first question that people ask me, what are you wearing? What are you asking me that for?
Right.
It's apparent that when someone asks that question, that they're concerned about how they're going to look in that environment. I will go in there in sweatpants and sneakers because my money is still green. I'll go there in all different environments. What about folks? Do you feel like if you're in an environment like Top of the Hub, some of those places, high-end places, that you have to present yourself in that form or fashion?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been to the top of the hub when I ain't seen, a white man get turned away because he had shorts, and sneakers. So I like the fairness in that, but at the same time, I've gone to, Capitol Grill, and you're enjoying a nice dinner, you're dressed up for it, then you see a whole nother crew in shorts and a T-shirt. It makes my hard work meal kind of a little bit worthless.
There you go.
I was gonna say, I feel like only celebrities could really get away with wearing whatever they want anywhere because they just throw money in your face. So it's like,
my thing is, if I'm paying you for a service, what I'm wearing shouldn't matter to you.
Sure.
But I also think it goes back to the racism question because the standard is like this white man in a suit. And so how far I am from that is like the effort that I have to put myself together in order to get the same level of service. So making sure that I get, come in, it's my dollar too, right? So
Sure. Pat, what about you? How you feel?
Some places do. They have a dress code. If it's a dress code, then it could be relaxed. How it's enforced or whatever.
Sure,
At the top
sure.
of the hub, I don't even know if they have a dress code. When I've been there, it's usually for an anniversary or a special occasion. So I'll wear a suit jacket.
Sure.
But I remember going out. I remember years ago. It was proper dress required at some clubs.
Sure.
Or it was no hats, no jeans, no sneakers. It would be, they'll let you know on the flyer or whatever.
Sure.
And you might take your chances at the door. But, I don't know. I think today that this generation is more accepting of individual styles and, anything kind of goes. At institutions like a restaurant, that's a different thing. But overall, I see just this generation is more open to all kinds of acceptance of styles and individual, expression. That's what I see.
I'm just looking at you, P. You kicking the jeans. You got that fly hat on. That's a statement. That's a statement.
So-
Turn around backwards. You doing your thing, baby.
So, let me ask you this, right? If you're a restaurant owner, right? And you see a couple of patrons coming into your area. They got sagging jeans on. They not dressed up to part, and they don't represent your establishment the way that you want them to be. Are you turning them away?
Well,
or I'm not sure. This is for everybody in the
Sure.
panel, because I know for me personally, if I'm running an establishment and I want to perceive like a certain look, I'm like, nah, sir, you got to tuck in your shirt. You got to go ahead. This is not your type of place that you want to be in.
Sure.
You
We
know?
kind of did that with our thing. We were worried about because
Yeah.
a certain look at times with certain people, they hood.
Yeah,
All
we don't
right.
want
They
that.
gangsters. All right. What do we do with them now?
So is that racism though? Is that racism?
That's gangsterism. I don't want that. That's hoodism. I
That's
guess.
judging, though. But that's how you judging.
Huh?
Oh yeah, I'm a judge. I told you I talk trash. I do judge. Yes, I do.
So you own a spot, right? You own a spot, okay, and you want a certain look to your spot. So people coming in there any type of way, would you feel comfortable like that? Would you feel comfortable with somebody coming into your establishment not dressed like the way that they should be
As
dressed?
long as you're not obscene, like I say, like the boxes are brief showing. Pull your pants up. That'll be my one. I'll be like, yo, pull your pants up, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're coming to enjoy food at my establishment, you're welcome. Because I want to be able to, as a restaurant in this modern age, you can't just cater to one crowd.
So
you need to be able to spread love and have everyone be able to enjoy what you bring.
So an artist, a pro athlete that has money that recognize them, they come in, they're sagging their pants. Would you do the same thing to them?
Yo, pull up your pants.
Okay, I hear it. Couple of quick ones here. Couple of quick questions. We only had about 10 minutes left. My girl dresses her butt off. She has me wearing different stuff and shopping in different places. She took me into a consignment shop. So I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, I like this. And I was like, but someone has worn this? And I don't know if I can put this on. Maybe the shoes, I don't know. Do you buy out of consignment? Do you feel comfortable wearing real fly stuff that somebody else has worn?
yeah, because it's still real fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a trend too. There's a whole
just
song
gonna say
about
that.
thrift shopping.
Yeah.
Really? What song is that?
Thrift shop.
Come on, Jay. I don't even know. It's called thrift shop. This is a style that threw me off about a decade ago when I was going going to the Vineyard. Look on the beach. Here come the hood dudes. They got Timberlands on, walking to the beach. The girls they dressed in their bathing suit. They got the big shrimp hoop earrings on.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're on the beach. Why do you have the earrings on? Why are you dragging around those Timbs? What about that style? Is that really good for anybody?
People watching, absolutely, But for me, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you look at them, you're like, they're probably hot. Or I'm gonna follow them and hope that their gold earring falls off their ear and I can pick it up and pawn it.
Anybody else?
You might get a chuckle out of it. You not hate on it, but you might, get a little giggle out of it.
Sure.
They're wearing the Timbs in the sand at the beach.
Sure. When Pat mentioned earlier, I had some buddies, a good friend of mine, LaDonna Dare, was way above everybody else in fashion when we were kids. He had older brothers that would teach him as well, but he'd go out and he'd go to school with a 3-piece suit on and patent leathers. Him and his brother first turned me on the patent leathers. Yeah, they were fly.
This was high school?
He was something else. But they were number one in the nation too, so he just took it to another level. There's always that guy in the neighborhood that's sharp head to toe every time you see him. Like he come out to get the newspaper. Did you dress just to come out to get the paper? Hair's in place. Are there some people that just overdress? Just always look like I don't like someone that goes out and I know you had to go home because you picked out an outfit just for this event. You just couldn't wear this. I have to go home and change. I got to get my new stuff on. What do you think?
It's like it could be multiple factors. It could be that's just who they are, or they feel like they have to dress that way so people could perceive them properly, or they could have a certain image that they have in front of other people.
Okay. Anybody else? I saw a guy at the that reminded me of this. I was at a funeral Friday. This guy came out, this coat he had on was just, I said, man, where'd he get this? But he just looked too perfect. I don't even think he was walking on the ground. He was like floating by me, floating. There wasn't one hair out of place. He looked like he was whitening his teeth. I said, that's one of them dudes that you like, man, his you know what, don't stink. That's how good looking he was, what he's doing. Is there ever women... sometimes like my girl is asking me, why are you doing all that? We're just going to the corner play. All the full makeup and
everything.
Is that necessary, ladies?
What is that?
I mean, I had a cousin. She grew up very, very poor. So once she started making money and stuff, she made like a real concerted effort about like, I'm never going to look like how I had to be looking like when I was younger. And some people just carry that trauma with them.
Sure.
I think that's an alternative way of looking at it.
Sure. See, I carried the trauma because my mama shopped for me till I was 21. So I had to figure out, I finally had to buy my own clothes. My mama can't buy me clothes anymore. I was 21. I said, that's it, mama. I'm 21 now. I can go buy my own stuff now.
Jay, we got a couple of questions.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes, folks.
We got Sandy from NYC, and she asks, how come there is no black luxury designers?
There are. Everyone discounts from the black designers.
Who are they? Name some. Name some.
Sean John.
Sean John. That's not.
That right?
That's not considered luxury.
No.
People ain't really rocking Sean John no more. I don't think. Go ahead.
There's a company I found called LFS Shoes. They've started. It's a small brand, but he's elevated loafers and monk straps and a lot of dress shoes, and people don't see that, but he's there.
Someone from Boston, his name is Praj Couture. He's like in Paris Fashion Week right now. It's just they're more considered indie artists because they're black versus elevating them to the house of fashion.
Well, wouldn't on that level, let's think about it, be Jordans. There's some Jordan sneakers that cost $5,000. Wouldn't that be considered on another level, folks?
But is that still black?
But that's not black though.
Jordans.
So let me ask you this. You heard of the gentleman? What's his name? He I think he partnered with like Gucci or something like that. Dapper Dan. Right. So let me ask you this. Do people like would support Dapper Dan if it was just Dapper Dan? If it was just Dapper Dan, or would it be, or are people supporting Dapper Dan because he's associated with Gucci and we know like, okay, Gucci's like a luxury brand. You know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to ask that question. How come would people, because Dapper Dan, actually I did a little bit of research on him. He started off by doing like basically Gucci knockoffs. Right? And then it started getting popular and all these different things. So, like, would people support Dapper Dan if it was just Dapper Dan? Would you support Dapper Dan if it was Dapper Dan, or would you rock some Dapper Dans because it's associated with Gucci?
I would rock some Dapper Dans because it's Dapper Dan.
I
just can't afford it yet.
Right. Yeah. Someone else want to answer?
There was Willie Wear. Remember Willie Wear?
Sure, yeah, I remember that. Yep, absolutely.
FUBU too.
I think part of the problem is that the black community didn't support it enough for these places to go to that next level.
And the music changed.
In the music change. We got a couple of minutes left. I want to give everybody a chance to say a few words about style or shout out to someone. I don't know where Isis has gone. She was supposed to close us out today. She couldn't handle it, I guess. What do you have for us, Kiana? What would you like to say?
I'm a big thrift store shopper. I think if I can get that luxury brand at a quarter of the price, then I'm a winner. So I definitely like to do that.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm one of them people that lie. I get at Marshalls. Oh, no, this is specially made. You can't get this nowhere else. I want no one else to have it. Josh?
I don't know. I'm trying to find that line between being presentable, looking the part in the setting, but then being comfortable, too. I think it's something to be said about folks who are comfortable and can show them their authentic self.
Sure.
So I'm trying to find that line.
There you go, baby. There you go. Pat?
Yeah, I mean, everyone should be able to express themselves the way they want to express themselves and feel confident about themselves. And just to an earlier point, getting the deal, getting a bargain, that's like, that's a
like sales.
too. Like, I got this.
Sales is good.
Yeah. So. But once again, I'm going to lie and say I got it for $2,000. Yes, I did. Shadi?
As a style blogger, especially when I'm trying to encourage plus-size women to be their best selves and dress in whatever they want to, I'm going to give them all the options that are out there and don't let them feel like they're limited to having to dress one type of way. However, I do caution them, have just as thick skin because society's not always open to a confident person.
When I saw you on there, I said, is that true? Mm-hmm. Is that true? But I must warn you, that comment about the Adam and Eve, I wouldn't do that nowadays at City Hall. I wouldn't come to where I wouldn't recommend that.
No.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think James knows I was a bum in high school, so I take pride in kind of dressing a little bit better these days.
You was a baller in high school.
Exactly. Either I was an athlete or I was a bum. But at the same time, you kind of, that's the growth, that's the money, that's the investment. And I think, I work in Cambridge. There's a lot of consignment stores, but I wish there was some plus sizes back in the days, or rich people with some plus size consignment clothing.
And one thing about the plus size, if it weren't for the women feeling comfortable to be a part of that process, it wouldn't make other women comfortable to wear some of the things that they wear. So I applaud you.
That is true.
I applaud you.
I like that.
My brother.
It's all about the swag. That's all it is.
So, he said it's swag. Wear what you want as long as you got swag. We need a clothing line called Swag. Is there one yet? Did I make that up? Okay. Lisa?
I would just say do you. Whatever makes you feel good, you feel like you look good in it, just, have a ball with it.
Depending on the day of the week, I will go into work with sweats on or sneakers. You know what, too? I think age makes a difference. If I come out as an older guy and I'm wearing sweats and everything, people are like, oh, he cool. Look at what he wear. I didn't know he had that. You can kind of get away with it. But if you're young and you come in with sweats, like, what are you doing? Not appropriate. The only thing I had to do is, and another thing about wardrobe that the young generation has made so fly are sneakers. Sneakers to go with everything. So we have to wrap this up. It was a great show talking about all the different clothing and what people feel confident wearing. I appreciate all of you being here. Jay, take us out.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Iris Afel. When you don't dress like everybody else, you don't have to think like everybody else. Keep knocking, keep rocking. I'll holler. Good work, folks. Good work.